Hey everybody, Nick here, and today I got a review for you with this little guy. This is the Manker E02. Very interesting little light, and so looking forward to doing a quick review for you here today of it. First off, though, I want to thank Manker for sending this guy along. That's right, this guy was sent to me directly from the manufacturer as a freebie, and I'll be giving it away to my Patreon patrons after this review is over. But so thank you very much there, Manker, for sending this little guy along, and of course I told him that I would be doing an honest review with the good, the bad, all the ugly. It may be a gem, it may be junk, and so they still wanted to send it along, so thanks to that, Manker. Next thing, size comparison. This is a single AAA battery light, and so here, we'll compare it first off against a AAA battery. Hey, there you go. You can see here that it is not all that much bigger than a AAA battery, and similarly, here it is next to a standard AA battery. There you go. Here it is next to a CR123 battery, an 18650. So actually, that's a pretty close size comparison, all told, for the flashlight nerds. And then here we go. This is the EGTAC D25A, which is my favorite everyday carry flashlight right here. And so there you go. Then finally, I'll highlight here as I put the battery back in that I'm gonna just go ahead and do a quick Shabazz review of this guy. This is, a small light with not a whole lot going on, and so it doesn't merit the full good, great, bad, and the ugly. So I'm just going to talk about what I like and what I don't like about this particular flashlight. So on the good side, first off, I like the fact that it's using standard batteries. It's hard to find things like 18650s or CR123s at random places, but any gas station, any service station is going to have some AAAs, some AA's, and so you've always got that option. Most places, yeah, so that versatility is nice in a world of obscure flashlight battery sizes, so that's good. Next thing, the angled head is actually very nice for a lot of situations. You can clip this guy directly into a shirt pocket and then use the clip to adjust what direction it's pointing off of that, which gives you a lot of versatility in terms of aiming the light. You can slide this into the brim of a hat because this clip is flippable, so it can, slide that however you'd like there, which is good. And coupled with this little guy on the bottom here, which is a magnetic little area, which allows, it's a reasonably strong magnet too. This allows you to, oh, come on. Oh, it's not up against the blade itself. Anyways, size comparison, Spidicodelica. But this allows you to aim this guy wherever you see fit, for instance, under the hood of a car, which is very nice. Something I appreciate. Next thing, in terms of actual modes, this has 3 modes. It's got low, medium, high, and then it goes back to medium and low. And I actually kind of like that progression. Low, medium, high, medium, low is nicer because you go into a dark room, it's like, okay, that's too low, medium. You know what? That's higher than I need. I'll just go back to medium. Is it a big deal? No. Am I going to miss it too much? No, but in some ways it's more graceful than low, medium, high, low, medium, high, low, medium, high. Whatever. Not a big deal. And those modes are actually reasonable. The lowest of the low modes is very moonlighty. This is fine for adjusted eyes in very dark areas. The medium mode is fine to navigate a dark room, no problem. And the high mode is actually, it'll illuminate a room pretty reasonably. And it also does offer you a turbo mode if you double click, but I think that's time limited. And, yeah, so, but this is a fine amount of light output for something reasonably small like this. So that's good. The, what else here? Oh, the duration of this guy is actually pretty reasonable. On the highest setting, which, like I said, will illuminate a small room, no problem, you get 2 full hours of runtime, which isn't bad at all. Then you get 10 hours of runtime on that lowest mode, which, again, isn't going to be bright enough for a lot of situations, but in a dark room, it's absolutely going to be fine. It does offer a lockout, so what you do is you hit, let's see here, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. No, I'm in disco mode. Look, it's that pattern. It does offer a lockout. You're going to just have to trust me on that one. But, yeah, you can tell what I'm going to talk about in the bad side. But it has that lockout, which is nice, and it makes it impossible to turn this on until you repeat that 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 pattern again. Next thing, it does have a, in the interface, if you're just scrolling through the normal modes, you will never end up in the disco modes, the strobes, the SOSs, and whatnot. All of those are hidden behind the double click. If you do the double click, There you go. Then you can end up in all the disco, strobe modes, those kinds of things. It's nice that they're there, I guess, but it's also nice that you're not going to deal with them on a regular basis. Then finally, on the good side, this is $20. And for $20, they can afford to make some mistakes here and there. And it is a pretty solid value for $20 in a small light like this. So that's, to me, what's good here, is that it's $20. All of the disco, strobe, fancy stuff are hidden behind the double click. In your everyday life, you're never going to have to deal with that, which is a beautiful thing. You have pretty good run times, 2 hours on high, 10 on low. It's bright enough for indoor work, good enough for mild outdoor work. It's got some nice versatility with this angled thing, as well as the magnetic base on it, which is nice. And then using standard batteries is great. Let's talk about what's bad. So on the bad side, first off, I gotta say, the light quality out of this guy is not impressive in a couple of ways. It's hard to show this off on camera here, but I'll try and use this piece of paper to show this to you. What you can see here is that in the center here, and maybe you can't see that, the light is it's actually an attractive whitish sort of shade. Then there's a ring of a yellowish, greenish kind of light, and then on the outside here, we go back to a very bluish sort of light. That's not a big deal, but it means that color perception with this light is going to be very weird, because depending on the angle and position of the light, things are going to look very differently colored. It's also got a very weird pattern, where it's spotty, then there's a gap, then there's a brighter area on the outside here. On the whole, I'm not super impressed with the light that this is putting out there, both in terms of color correction and in terms of pattern. But for $20, I can live with something like that. It's also worth noting that this guy does come in a nichier bulb with it's a better LED, basically, for color correction, which I suspect would not have those problems. So it's something to keep in mind, but this stock version, not super impressing me there. Next thing, you got to keep in mind that this forward-facing light is kind of ergonomically situational. If you're actually pointing your light at something, I much prefer a point-forward light. And in fact, for my everyday carry, I do prefer this kind of light. But if you find yourself frequently clipping the light to yourself or to something, this gives you a lot more versatility and a lot more options. And so, hands-free, this is a much better light. But using in the hand, I do definitely prefer this little guy here. And then finally, the interface, as you've already noticed, is a little fiddly. To turn it on, you just click once. To turn it off, you hold down. And then to go into all the other disco modes, you double-click, but sometimes it's not clear when you've double-clicked or not. And things like the lockout interface, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3... don't always reliably turn on. Manker, unfortunately, has a tendency towards very complicated interfaces that don't tend to work intuitively. A lot of it is timing-based, and the timing doesn't make sense to me. And so, to me, at least, that's what's bad here, is that the interface is very kind of fiddly and not super intuitive. The ergonomics of a forward-facing light are a little situational, and then the light pattern and coloration coming out of this guy, not super impressive. Let's talk about the final conclusion. Look, final conclusion, I think this is a fine little light. I've not looked at a whole bunch of single AAA lights because by and large they tend to be relatively uninspiring in terms of runtime and otherwise. But look, this is pretty solid. On the days that I carried this was more than enough light. I didn't love the light pattern 100%, but it does do what it needs to do. It does illuminate things. It does it at a relatively small size and weight. Gives you nice runtimes. There's a lot of good in this little guy here. I would recommend, if you're thinking about this guy, that you maybe think about that Nichia model with the better color rendering on the LEDs. I think it'll give you much better light, probably a more consistent pattern as well. But even as it is, I think this is a pretty solid choice. And for the price, $20, it's pretty solid. So there you go. That's my review here. It's not, oh my God, I'm crazy passionate about this. And I really do hope that Manker can do a little bit better job with the interfaces in the future. But as it is, I think this is a pretty solid little light, especially for the price. And if you need that versatility of positioning that you get from this angled sort of thing, a pretty good choice. Hope this has been interesting to you and that you have yourselves an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. Bye now.